One. All right, everybody. Welcome to Muscle Fix Mobile Podcast, the Dr. Nick Success Stories series. We have our regular here, the esteemed Dr. Nicholas Kuvmanowski, Dr. Chiropractor. Wrong one. Physical therapy. We have myself, Greg, CFO, marketing guy, and janitor of Muscle Fix Mobile. And then tonight we have a very special guest. We have Rachel Wasserman. And, I saw the review that you wrote on Google, and I was like, this is incredible stuff. This is so awesome. Like, I think someone would think it was fake. It was so good. And the whole point is we wanted to share this with other people who have been suffering with what you're suffering. Maybe if, not treated by Nick, treated by someone else, they can experience the same relief. So, that said, if you could tell us, what was the matter and, how it went when you were treated and the results.
Yeah. So I think I first started feeling pain in my back when I was in 4th grade. And I've had, I want to say, the same pain since then. And everybody's always told me that I've had scoliosis and it's pretty bad and that I should have had a brace and all that. But no one ever really did anything for me. And it's just gotten so much worse over the years. And since I've been out of high school and not playing sports anymore, I've noticed it's gotten a lot worse, even though I do try to maintain physical exercise and all that. But so I my whole spine is a Z kind of or an S. And then my shoulder is popping out, and then I have my hips are uneven, so I'm all kinds of messed up with my bones and all that. So my muscles are all just not working correctly, and with not playing sports and not being so super active, my muscles started not being there. And it just got harder and harder to walk. My mom was like, okay, we need to figure out something, because I went to the chiropractor. It helps for a little bit, and then it's my muscles that are the issue. I was also diagnosed with severe muscle spasms. So they're constantly going off, and it's so painful. And there are mornings where I just couldn't wake up, couldn't get out of bed because I just couldn't move. But after my first treatment with Dr. Nick, it was just absolutely amazing. I felt no stress, no muscle spasms, nothing. It was great. And I could walk straighter, and I took a really great nap right after. And ever since I started the cupping therapy, I felt like a whole different person. I don't wake up in pain. Not every morning, at least. A little bit of discomfort some days, but I can walk straighter now. I'm not feeling as much pain in my legs and in my hips, and my shoulders feel more upright. I just feel like I have more energy. It's crazy. It totally blew my mind, which is why I wrote that crazy review. And I recommend it to everybody, because it just feels great. Sucks all of your stress away. So I love it.
Oh, that's awesome. Absolutely amazing. So as you were saying, it sounds like it was mostly soft tissue related, your problem. So Nick, can you speak to that? Why the chiropractic care in this case, which is more spinal, skeletal related, was not really doing it, and why the cupping, was the correct or preferred method?
Rachel she's a superstar all around. She has incredible energy, and it was frustrating, and I was upset to see her in that condition, especially her mom and her parents. They really were upset to see her suffering for a long time. So that was very challenging and intimidating at first. And I said, I hope I can help this young woman. So what we did basically was our muscle fix method. And we did a little bit of cupping, a little bit of deep tissue scraping, and some massage gun. And Rachel, like most of our patients, was very intimidated by cupping, the bruising, the cool marks and all that stuff. And she was very I guess, reluctant or skeptical because this poor kid went through everything under the sun, um, from basically just taking it as like a chronic thing, like I got to live with this. So we did what we did, and it was incredible because she popped off the table and she was like basically almost in tears, and I was almost in tears because it was like pretty cool to see. She's like, "Man, I haven't like had not had pain like this in like so long," and I'm like, "Yeah, this girl's just being nice and being herself." But she kept in touch with us, and I was just following up with her, and she told us like, "Oh, you know, I'm working, and this kid works very, very hard. She's a hard working, great student, and works like multiple jobs. So she was suffering with all that. Like she couldn't even optimize her life because she was in so much damn pain all the time. So again, imagine somebody basically like pulling on your spine or on your back 24/7, including when you sleep, because literally the spine is being shifted this way or this way, which again, very common and why they check for these things when we're all in school. Um, so basically, once we got those muscles to kind of just relax and splay, her spine and scoliosis, which doesn't make her a bad person, because again, scoliosis is very common in people. Like, there's no such thing as a perfect spine, as I've always told Rachel. So we're not worried so much how much it's curving or that it's curved. But once those muscles relax, I saw her definitely like even straighten out into a better posture and a more confident posture. Um, and then like her father, at least I noticed, he's like a hardcore gym guy like you, Greg, and literally has like weights in his house, and he's like was just scratching to get Rachel back to training and working out together. So once she like did that, I think they started working out together more. So not only did she follow the prescribed exercises, she went above and beyond, like she does with everything in her life. Um, and she's been able to, I think, swim. Some of the summer, she went on some great vacations with her friends and family. And I was just like waiting to hear, like, oh man, I was in so much pain and I couldn't do this with my family or that with my friends. But she was like, no, the total opposite. She's like, yeah, Nick, like when she was due for her tune up, she's like, I just started having pain like the other day. I'm like, really? Um, so she's a straight A student and a patient, because as I always tell you and all of our patients, if you don't follow your homework, you know, don't just rely on the cupping, but the power of, again, what the cupping and the muscle scraping did for her was rewarding to say the least. And why I thought about Rachel right away was she was one of the best success stories. So there is many, many, many people, boys and girls, men and women out there suffering and dealing with scoliosis. Like they don't want to do surgery. They don't want to go pain pills. Chiropractic's good. It'll definitely had helped her. You know, we working together, but she's, you know, very successful. So Rachel, tell me, I guess, a little bit more. I always like to hear kind of like with the experience, because people always say like, does it hurt, or like tell me a little bit more about your experience, I guess, during the treatment and like the days after, what you feel.
During the first treatment, like you said, I definitely was a little skeptical because I knew what it looked like. And I mean, I think that would like kind of intimidate anybody with all like the bruising and stuff. But once you're doing it, it just feels like there's stress being sucked out of you, and it feels so nice. And even with like the scraping and the massage gun especially, like those are two like also amazing tools on how to relieve that like inner stress. I actually used the massage gun earlier today because my shoulders were feeling a little bit rough from sleeping. um but it's definitely not intimidating, and I've actually gotten my brother and my boyfriend to put the cups on. I was like, you'll see when you put it on, you'll see. And they're like,
Yeah.
wow.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. So, you know, like, although this has existed in many cultures, even in Nick's neck of the woods over there, where predominantly had become very popular was out in Asia, China, and then the former Soviet Union. And the Chinese kind of had this concept of qi. Don't chop off my head if I'm saying this wrong, but that what they're speaking to, energy. That's how they felt about it. And some of our clients that have very stressful lives, they have no physical problems. They're not getting beat up. They're not plumbers or lumberjacks. And these guys all have the darkest marks on their back. They look like they went through a war because of the amount of stress being released from their bodies when they do this. So it's definitely a very real thing, however you want to view it.
Yeah. And ironically, I noticed with Rachel, actually, from what I recall, at least, she didn't even like light up that much or bruise or mark up that much. So again, on the bruising, that's always someone's like concern about that. So the more bruising, as I've told Rachel, or the more marking, the more diagnostically or damage, we'll call it you have an area of more scar tissue. So sure enough, as you continue treatment, the skin will stay nice and white or whatever your natural colors are. So again, like Greg mentioned, a lot of our patients just do it for maintenance, tune-ups, so it's not bad to do cupping or deep tissue or body work, which is what we're noticing for all of our spines, especially during these, let's say, stressful times, to say the least. So cool thing. And one other thing I really want to highlight, so not only did Rachel get her own personal cupping sets, which I advise everybody to do, and her own personal scraping tools and her own personal massage gun, I educated and I took her kind of step by step with her and her mother and her father, because I empower the patient, the family, on how to continue these things safely and correctly. So as I always tell Rachel and any of their patients, like, don't rely on me, because there's only one Dr. Muscle Fix to go around. So I can't always be there to save the day, but understanding the process and educating the clients so they can, again, be empowered to take care of themselves. So don't rely on any Dr. Muscle Fix or any chiropractic. Again, you should empower yourself with the power of exercise and fitness. So I guess on that note, Rachel, tell me how exercise, if you want to go that way, how it's changed and empowered your life. You told me a little story that kind of jumps out at me, if you want to share with us.
Yeah. Okay. So I used to be like super, super overweight. I'm only 5'4", so like my weight range is supposed to be like 115 to 120 or something like that, around there. But I was like 2 pounds away from 200 when I started my fitness journey, which was, I would say, my freshman year coming into high school. So I just immediately was like, okay, well, what's going to force me to exercise all the time? And I just like, okay, sports. And I have no skill. I just played because I knew it was good for me. I wasn't very good, but that didn't really deter me too much. But I tried, I want to say, every single diet that is like popular or was popular at the time. I did like juicing, which was awful. I did not feel good after that. Keto was like really the only thing that really helps. And even now, like, I just won't eat so much bread if I'm getting a little chunky. But with like losing weight, I also like, I played field hockey, and that was a lot because I was goalie and I had like 40 pounds of gear on and I was just constantly sweating. So I just lost a lot of weight playing field hockey. And even now it's like when I'm in pain or when I used to be in pain, like I wouldn't want to exercise. So like my muscles just kept getting weaker and weaker until the point where I just couldn't, do it anymore. I was just in so much pain. But since like I started cupping, it's obviously a lot easier for me to exercise without being in like stabbing pain. So I've been doing a lot more like chin ups and pull ups, and just trying to do more stuff at home since the gym policies are still super weird right now. But yeah, definitely like walking and doing all kinds of like just moving around and not sitting so much is really helping, along with the cups.
So let me ask you this. I mean, obviously, you just said that things changed in terms of being able to exercise without pain and whatnot, but how did your overall quality of life, like in other words, are there things you would not have done before previously because of the pain that now you do, or like how has that changed the bigger picture from your perspective?
So I used to lay in bed like when I was in pain, and just think about how it's going to ruin my life. Like the pain will literally ruin my life, because my goal right now is to be a tour guide, and like a traveling tour guide. Like I'm a history and German major, and I want to go over to Germany, and I want to teach people and take people around the country. Like I want to be one of those like backpacking tour people where like we just walk everywhere. And I'm like, well, this pain is not going to let me do that. So I needed to find something that it was going to, you know, fix it. Like it's not some thing that's going to kill me. Like I needed to figure it out. And I was like, I'm never going to figure it out. It was just horrifying that I might lose my dream.
So Rachel,
Yeah.
how did you find Dr. Muscle Fix? How did you come across us?
My mom was doing a Google search and she found that your address was right the street right next to me. So she was like, okay, well, this is local and we should definitely try it. She did her own research before coming to me. And I was actually driving to the beach when she called me, and she was like, oh, well, I found this, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, Mom, I'm driving right now. I can't really talk about it. But I'm glad that we decided to give it a shot, because it's definitely changed my life.
So can I tell you, I was harassing your mom for like 2 weeks to schedule you. And she was like, I felt like I was bothering her and harassing her, and I was, because I was like, I can help your daughter. I can help your daughter. And thank God she finally committed and did it, because I think she, you know, really helped you a lot. And I want to thank your mother for that and reaching out to us. And thank you, Google. And it was funny, we weren't going to even list that home address as the business home because I don't even live in Butler. My parents do. So again, all these things, how they lined up for you and how we were able to help you through your process to get back to where you can and just continue growing and kicking butt and doing what you do. So that was pretty, I thought, a cool, interesting story to how you found us.
The logic was that if the debt collectors or the mob came looking for him, they'd go to his parents instead. So,
so
I think it was, no, again, amazing stuff. Blew my mind when I read what you wrote, and I think that, you know, it makes everything that we're doing worth it. You know, it really does. Absolutely. You know, even if we just remain local or whatever, I mean, this 100% justifies our efforts. So it's amazing to hear from you and amazing to hear your experience. And thank you, Rachel.
Yeah,
Thank you, of course.
Rachel's also been like a great ambassador, like her energy again, like I know she's like telling the world and all her friends and like locals. She's, as she mentioned, like with her weight loss now, she's like hardcore. She works for this place called, I think, Boca Bowls in town, which I still have yet to go visit, but they're like all natural, all organic, like healthy smoothies and drinks. So this, you know, not only does she follow exercise, but she understands nutrition just kind of intuitively. As I mentioned, both of her parents are into fitness. They literally have weights in their living room, Greg.
Yes.
So it's like this beautiful home, and then like literally it's just like a gym in dad's living room there. So it's kind of cool.
Get the business.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. Is there anything else, Rachel, that you want to kind of share again with the audience, or any other, I guess, young men and women out there like dealing with what you're dealing, or anything else you want to kind of let us know about your kind of plug or what you're passionate about?
Well, I have advice. Don't always seek like medical doctor, like for medicine or for the knife, as you like to say. It's not always the option, and it probably 90, maybe 80% of the time won't be. There's always some holistic way to figure things out. Like people have been using herbs and all kinds of crazy stuff to get better for so long. So I just think that's really important, to always do your homework before you see people. Like you're not just going to see one doctor, you should see like 3, 4, because not everybody's going to have the same opinion. For me, it's just very different now, because I don't feel as much pain as I used to feel. And it's just easier, not all the time, but I would say 95% of the time.
Wow.
And it's
Wow.
definitely worth your homework. So,
Wow.
yeah.
And thank you for saying that. Yeah. I mean, that was what kind of inspired us, was medication and surgery-free recovery, you know, because like you said yourself, many times they'll say, don't worry about it. Here, have some Vicodin, just pop this every day, you know, maybe we'll have a surgery. We'll see how that goes, you know. And we don't want to go down this road too much because there's a lot of money and big interest involved. We don't need Nick's door kicked in. But nonetheless, though, you know, that's the whole point, is we want to spread this, you know, thousands of year old remedy, as well as other related stuff like the essential oils. And we could go on and on and on about this, but that was the whole point. Just wanted to hear your experience, Rachel. And we really thank you for that.
Touch a little bit on that, Greg, because very good point. Again,
Well,
Rachel hit some keywords with the essential oils. So that's another, again, important thing, but maybe on the next follow-up, we can touch base on. So again, Rachel, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. You are our first superstar featured guest, and thank you for sharing your story with our audience.
Of course. Thank you so much.
all right.
All right.
Rachel, well, you have a good night, and I guess you'll be in touch with Nick soon at some point. So,
Yes.
All right. Good
have
night.
a good one. Take
Have
care.
a great night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.